So I was saying that, I was working with Jest, and Jest have this very minimal and elegant API of eat, describe, and have this expectation API. So I kind of brought that into Pest, and that was the gist of Pest V1, by the way. But then it came out like Pest V2, which was released early this year, who introduced so many new features that I truly believe that make Pest unique, and probably at the moment the most complete testing framework in the world, because we have like profile analysis, code coverage, type coverage, watch mode. I mean, I know so many stuff at the moment, and more stuff coming up on the pipe. So I'm really proud of the project so far.
Yeah, it's with V2. I think you send me like the release notes up front before you publish them, and my mind was blown basically. Which is the point where I started to consider this might be actually a good thing to look out for. Yeah, you mentioned that that you had some things to show about Pest.
Yeah, so I was thinking about just doing a demo about what Pest V1 is about, really, for people who are not familiar with the project or never seen it, but probably seen PHPUnit or not. It's okay, but I can do a demo of 5-10 minutes if you're okay with it.
Yeah, definitely. You probably want to share your screen still.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
Okay, you should see my screen at the moment.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to just demo to you just how easy it is, by the way, to start with Pest PHP on existing Laravel or even with a new Laravel project. And it's worth mentioning that Laravel at the moment offers you the option of starting with PHPUnit or Pest. However, if you have an existing Laravel project, pretty much your PHPUnit test suite will look like this. And for those who are not familiar with PHPUnit, a test pretty much looks like this. You need to have a namespace, a bunch of uses, a class that extends something, a trait, and probably then a public function to actually see your first test. And if you go to the terminal, you probably type something like vendor bin PHPUnit, and the output looks like this. You have PHPUnit 10 by Sebastian on top, a runtime, a configuration. So a bunch of stuff that I don't really care, to be honest. And so really, to start with Pest, the only thing you have to do is just type composer require pest php -pest. And once you do this, and I already have done that, you can immediately run Pest on the terminal, just like that. Now, there is a couple of things that you probably can understand from this output. The first one is that Pest is a progressive testing framework, meaning that it just works on top of existing PHPUnit test suites. And that was a big design choice, because I really wanted to make sure that the community could start using Pest since day one. And the second thing you probably have noticed is how beautiful the output is. It's kind of hard to see, but it's spaced on top, bottom, left, and right. Also have a very cool green message for each passing test. And it really shines when you have a failure. So if I go here, for example, and I assert status 404, if I clear my terminal, run this with PHPUnit, you will see like a bunch of text, kind of users, Nunu Maduro, work, talks. So all of this content that doesn't really matter, and it's kind of hard to understand where the issue is coming from. And the difference between this and Pest PHP is that if you run with Pest, you have this really code snippet that just points you in the right direction, which I believe it's pretty cool to have these beautiful stack traces. Kind of what made Rust so popular in the early days is that have beautiful terminal output. So that's a big thing for Pest PHP. Let me know if you have any questions, okay? Because I'm going to just go and just demo the entire thing.
Definitely.
Okay, so this is one of the big wins of Pest V1, the beautiful terminal output. But the second big thing on Pest V1 was kind of the testing API. So again, this is a PHPUnit testing API, which is kind of a class-based approach, but Pest PHP offers you an alternative which is inspired by Jest. And the only thing you have to do, just copy the content of your test, and I'm going to just copy that, and then I'm going to remove all of this boilerplate. So no public functions, comments, use traits, classes, extends, users, or namespaces. I'm going to remove all of it. And the only thing I'm going to type is it has a welcome page, okay? And then I'm going to provide the closure. And within this closure body, I'm going to just copy paste my function, just like that. Okay, clear my terminal, run Pest, and I get exactly the same result as before. So this amount of code is the equivalent of the 20 lines we had before, which makes, in my opinion, the API so much focus on what matters, which is the testing stuff. In addition, some people are afraid that they are losing some features like from PHPUnit when they change to Pest, but basically all the stuff you love on PHPUnit, they are available on Pest. So here, for example, I can just skip this test if I want to by chaining skip. I can even put this particular test in the group if I want to. So all of that just works. And we also offer you new stuff. For example, here I can mark this test as a to-do if I want to. So now if I run Pest, I can just basically see this very cool to-do banner here, and can also, for example, only run this test. This is particularly cool if you're not using PHP Storm. So here, for example, I can just run this particular test if I want. So we offer full feature parity with PHPUnit, plus some very cool additions, at least on Pest V1, that was it. And then there is also this thing called expectation API, which I really, really like. So here on my Sublime text, you can see that I have a very basic PHPUnit test case, which, by the way, it's working side by side with Pest PHP testing API, as we have seen. But this very basic PHPUnit test suite is using this thing called the assertion API. And if you're not familiar with that, it's pretty much this option of calling this assert and then perform assertions on a given value. And there was multiple things we detect that could be better here. But before we jump into that, let me just copy this thing and migrate this to Pest. So I'm going to just type here, test basic, and provide the function, and then copy paste that function body within, okay? And if I run Pest, this should just work. But now I'm going to use the expectation API instead of the assertion API from PHPUnit. And one thing I'd like to fix on this assertion API is the fact that we are providing the value multiple times, as you can see, even though we are asserting things on the same value all the time. So it would be cool to kind of just provide the value once. So with expectation API, we do exactly that. You provide expect, you provide the value just once, and then you perform assertions. You chain assertions on that value. And the first thing I like to assert is that is a string. So I'm going to just type to be string. The second thing I want to assert is that not to be an integer. So I'm going to just type not to be int. That's a big thing, is that if you want to negate an expectation, you just prefix the thing with a not modifier, which I think is pretty cool. And finally, some of these methods on PHPUnit, I think they are just too much verbose, like assert string contains string. It doesn't feel like Laravel to me. I don't know what you think, but I really wanted to make this small. So something we can do is just type to contain Laracon, Yeah. So it just looks a little bit better in my opinion. So these lines on top are the equivalent of we had just below, and they are a little bit more elegant in my opinion. And you can do the best feature ever, which is just come here and type DD, and you get to see the given expectation value, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So this was the gist of Pest V1. And I agree that some people like yourself, they were like, okay, this is a nice synthetic sugar, but I'm not convinced yet. So that's when we basically shipped Pest V2, which is the very first release of that introduced a lot of new cool features that I believe make Pest unique. And I mean, at the moment we have so many stuff like coverage, for example, from the terminal, just like that, dash coverage
without any config, and it just works.
Yeah, the only thing you need to have installed is a coverage driver.
Yeah.
And myself, I have Xdebug, so it just works. You type dash coverage, and you get to see the coverage report right there on the terminal. And we have so many stuff here, dude. Like profiling, for example, I can see what the slowest test on my test suite just by typing dash profile.
Wow.
We have type coverage. We have architectural testing, which we can talk a little bit about that later if you want, or right now even. I think I have an example, but parallel testing natively, for example, as well. That's it. That's it for my gist of Pest. I could go all in, but I guess we are going to do some stuff on your RFC project, right?
Yeah. Like you said, with V1, it seemed like, okay, this is nice. And I actually agree that the syntax is more concise, and it's, I mean, I like it more. But I was with this mindset of, okay, but it doesn't add enough value for me to warrant changing a whole project, basically. But then V2 came, and yeah, like the things you've already shown, being built in and just with one flag it just works is pretty amazing. And then the architectural stuff, let's show that in RFC Vote, by the way. That's going to be pretty cool.
We also have snapshot testing, like all those goodies that I usually use in all my Laravel projects. They're just available by default, and they just work. And that was really the thing I wanted with Pest, is like making all this stuff that usually is complicated to set up, like profiling, coverage, type coverage even as well. And all that stuff is complicated to set up probably in other projects. And with Pest, it just really works. It's a flag away from you. So
I think that's the secret sauce, like being able to just compose a require, and that's it. And you're going. That's but that's kind of the Laravel way, I would say, as well. People really like fine tune their packages, and it's so easy to use. And I like to compare it to like what Apple does with hardware. It works, you know. You just open up that MacBook. I don't know. It's not like I don't want to promote Apple here, but it's my experience, at least. It all works out of the box, and that's incredibly powerful. What I'm still wondering about before we dive into RFC Vote is like this compatibility with PHPUnit. That's pretty great, and I think that has been the key factor in making Pest successful, is that you don't have to convert everything at once. How does that work actually? Are you using like a PHPUnit test runner underneath, or
so just to expand a little bit on why we have done that, that was a design choice. Like I really wanted, first of all, there is two main points. The first one is that we just leverage what Sebastian have built. And it's actually very good. It's expandable. I can just expand on top of existing API, and the project is great. So why would I just write that thing from scratch? It doesn't make any sense, you know? So the second thing is that, which is probably the most important one, is that I really wanted to just work on top of existing stuff. I don't want like people to have to opt out from their existing stuff to migrate to Pest. No, it just works. You just require it on, and it really will just work. And you probably know that Laravel, for example, have so many stuff built for PHPUnit. So it was important for me that people could just require Pest on those projects, and it really would just work. Symfony probably is the same thing. They have some helpers for testing. So it was kind of important. So I'm happy that we have made that design choice. And Pest and PHPUnit 10, I don't know if you know, but they have built this event plugin system. That made things so much easier on my side. So that's why probably Pest V2 was so much focused on plugins, because I could really focus on my stuff because the internals were very easy to hook in into PHPUnit.
Yeah, that's. I think, like I said, I think that has been the key to its initial success, and well, it's great to see that it's paying off, I would say. From the PHP Storm side, by the way, I also wanted to mention this, that we recently announced that there was this Pest plugin that was maintained by third party by Oliver, who's a great plugin developer, and at PHP Storm we decided that we really want to help out here and maintain the plugin on one hand, but also bundle it so that it comes installed by default in PHP Storm, which I think makes sense if we're looking at how Pest is growing. It's doing great, and it's like a mature player in the testing world now for PHP, I dare to say. So
we have just reached 10 million downloads on packages.
Nice.
So we went from this summer, we went from 7 million to 10 million. That was basically since like architectural testing and some of those latest editions we have made. But also like what I was saying, so 10 million downloads, but also just happy that the PHP Storm team have basically take over the plugin. Oliver have been like part of the Pest team since the early days, and he actually changed from PHP to another language, so he couldn't actually being working on PHP on his side time. So it was kind of the perfect moment to have the PHP Storm team taking over the plugin, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it's a good move for all people involved, basically. If you're, by the way, if you're interested in the Pest plugin in PHP Storm, for the viewers out there, it will be bundled in the next PHP Storm release. But you can already download it, of course. The plugin will stay the same, but it will be built into PHP Storm with the next release. Maybe it's a good time to show you what I've been working on, Nuno. And actually, I've been working on it on stream here on this channel for a couple of months now. It's this project called RFC Vote, where we build stuff for a project for the PHP community to interact on RFCs, basically. Let me share my screen here. And okay, here we are. I've got a PHP Storm open, and I want to show you my test folder. Is this big enough, by the way? Let me
for me it's good. Maybe for the audience, put a little bit bigger. There you go.
Zoom in a little bit. These are just all PHPUnit tests still. And you know, once again, I mentioned I'm bad with change, so I just went with what I know. But today I wanna try convert some stuff to Pest, and I wanna freewheel here a little bit. I don't know how it will work, but what happens if I just write composer require, what was it, Pest PHP Pest. Oh, I've got it here.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here. And now you're saying I can just run like let's look, vendor bin.
In theory.
In theory. Let's try it out. It works. It looks like most of my... Oh, well, there are some failed tests. That's good. So yeah, this is to me, it's mind-blowing. I can just start using Pest now with my existing PHPUnit tests, and I don't have to change anything. I can start writing new tests with the Pest syntax. That's quite a tongue twister, by the way. Tests with Pest.
Yeah.
And you know, it all just works. It's so cool. But I also wanna see how easy it is to now change a real test, because you've shown an example. But of course, I'm curious to see what happens with real life tests, right? Now I don't have.
So there is two paths we can take, by the way. We are going to take the hard one, okay? Just to make the stream interactive. But there is the easy path, which is use the Drift plugin. So we on the Pest PHP website, we have this section called Migrate from PHPUnit, and that section features the Drift plugin. And the Drift plugin is pretty much this script will migrate your full entire Pest PHPUnit test suite to Pest. So you click on Get Started on top. Started. Yeah, and then you scroll all the way down, and you have this migration from PHPUnit guide, which is the almost the last section. There you go.
Got it.
So we have this plugin. We'll basically migrate your entire PHPUnit test suite to Pest, and it should just work. However, today we are going to go to the hard path to kind of see the how to migrate just one test. I think will be a little bit better for the interactivity with the audience. So something we can do to get started is just type vendor bin pest -init.
My microphone is always in the way of my keyboard. Okay.
It's
fine.
Show
Pest some love. Yes, I do want it, but I think I already started. So. I haven't. Okay.
Okay. Now you have some love. Yeah. Okay, that will basically create the configuration file, which is
so there is a
something.
Config file.
Yeah, there is. So that's placed at tests and .pest.php.
This one.
There we go. So you know, like when you work with PHPUnit, you have this extends and the traits and stuff like that. With Pest PHP, you don't do it per file; you do it per directory. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So here, for example, I'm saying I'm going to use the test case on the feature folder. You know what I mean? So here is the place where you configure. Okay, I want to use like the refresh database and also the base test case within my feature directory completely. So you do it once and that's it. Typically, I just use the test case and the refresh database everywhere. But in your case, I guess you are using the feature test, the test case only on feature folder or also on unit folder?
Also on unit folder. I don't actually remember why there's a difference here, but yeah.
Okay. And so are you using like databases on the unit stuff?
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
Okay, so we just have to
base test case, by the way. It does some setup, not that much. It actually only registers fake browser shot and uses like the traits that for database stuff, right?
So you use this test case in both in feature and unit folder, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so something we can do is just go to the configuration file and just type. You see the in thing?
Yeah.
You just put the comma and then unit.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
By the way,
and now we can start. We can migrate one test.
Double check here because I did install the Pest plugin. Yeah, just wanted to make sure that it's enabled. Yeah. Okay. Because it's not bundled with PHP Storm yet. Okay. Sorry, you were saying now we can like
migrate a particular. No. Now we can migrate a particular file only.
Test.
Yeah.
Let me actually check here. What a good test. Yeah, maybe this one is pretty nice already. Like there's this RFC sync command. Let me check whether it works. Right. Yeah, it does. That's good. And yeah, now we can convert it, right?
Yeah. So I feel like we can start by doing what I just have done on my demo earlier, which would be kind of remove the namespace.
Like all of this.
Not so fast. Well, we can do that. Yeah.
No. Okay.
No, go for it. Yeah, it's fine. I guess it's fine. I don't know. There is some imports there, but what I would do, what I would do is just I would go slow. I would just remove the namespace and then probably type the test function on top.
Like here?
Test? Yeah, probably do that. Yeah, test, and then let me check the name. It's called it command. Yeah, I'll probably go with test and then pass command within. Yeah, just command.
Like this?
Yeah, and then just basically a closure.
By the way, side note here, but Nuno, how much would you love like multi-line short closures in PHP like this?
Yeah, well, that would be cool to have, huh? But we are not quite there yet.
Go there, no. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Here we are. And now should I just copy everything here?
Yep.
And move that. Okay. Like so. I should probably move these statements here.
On top, you can remove now the class. Probably there is some use statements that you don't need because you no longer have classes. There you go. And that one, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, because it's like at root level. You don't even need to import that one. Yeah.
Let me actually disable PHP stuff for now. Yeah. Okay.
So you should be able to run just this one, and it should just work.
Okay, so let me do it this way. I could say only here, right? And then
there is a gotcha though. The only option will not work if you have like PHPUnit tests, which is something we need to address. Okay. So it kind of assumes that you have your entire test suite with Pest, you know. So
I can run it from PHP Storm, of course. Okay, and it works. That's because I have the Pest plugin installed. But how do I like then run this particular test from the command line?
You can just type vendor bin pest and then provide the path or a filter option.
Like filter equals command, something like this?
You probably have multiple commands though, but we can try that one.
No.
Yeah. Can you try like provide the path?
Yeah. Is it relative to tests?
I would just do like I would remove the filter option and type tests, the entire path.
Okay, yeah, gotcha. Where are we? Unit and unit. Then RFC sync command. Okay, gotcha. Command. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
just working.
There's double T here. I don't know where that's coming from. Do you see that?
Okay. Yeah, can you clear your terminal?
Yeah. Try it again.
And try again.
Yeah, okay.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Terminal door. Yeah, so that was pretty easy, actually.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, there is some cool stuff that I really like about the PHP Storm plugin now. Is that it offers auto-completion if you type this, which I think is pretty cool.
Like over here, this. Yeah.
Yeah, you have all of that auto-completion. You see, like, because you have choose like test case from Laravel, you have access to all those methods from that test case. So you don't need to worry about like
so like
bad auto-completion.
I have this login function here.
It should be able. You should be able to be there. Yeah. There you go.
There it is. That's pretty nice.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I have this pest test now. Is it called a pest test, or is it just a pest or a test?
Yeah, I would just call it a test, or a test with a pest API. I would just call it that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one test migrated. But typically, I would just use Drift because it would migrate the entire thing. However, yeah, for the sake of explaining how you migrate one single test, that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
So
are there any things that, like, I have these assertions here still? Can I?
Yeah.
But these are maybe more difficult assertions to convert to the expectations API. I'm not sure.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the way I should write it here.
You would use the session API that comes with Laravel, because that one is not something that comes with PHPUnit. That's something that comes with Laravel. So you have access to all that API. It wouldn't make sense for Laravel to just basically try to migrate to the expectation API, because this is written, set in stone. So I guess we'll stay like that.
No, okay, that makes sense. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's just run it once more. Nice. And the output in PHP Storm is also a little bit nicer, actually, compared to the PHPUnit output. So that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Let me check real quick in chat here, because there are some questions. Well, Christian has a question. Let me show it. Can you see that, Nuno? I have a question. I like to avoid using this within pest tests because you either don't have auto-completion and stuff, or you have to add dog blocks. Okay, but the one of the solutions here is to use the pest plugin in PHP Storm, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you use the PHP Storm plugin, we'll have full auto-completion and things will just work. My guess is that Christian is using something like, I don't know, probably Vim or even like, VS Code. And over there, we still have improvements to do.
Okay. Are there any plans to add further support?
I don't know, man. Like at the moment, I'm so hooked into Sublime and also PHP Storm, and with the recent ChatGPT, with Go Copilot stuff. The auto-completion is just works. So it goes even further than auto-completion. It just writes your entire code most of the time. So I don't know. I feel that I should wait a little bit to see how that goes, because GitHub Copilot is just so powerful that I don't know. I feel like all those auto-completions coming are probably potentially have a lot of help from OpenAI and ChatGPT.
Gotcha. There are a couple more questions here. Christian also said that's why I like that most functionality is provided via global functions, but I think some methods are missing. I'm not sure what you're talking about here, Christian, but you also had. Do you know? What he yeah.
So there is also this alternative syntax we offer on Laravel. I don't know if you want to try it, but we can try it real quick. So if you go to your console, you can type composer require past PHP / past plugin Laravel.
Like this?
With I can see it because of the comment of Christian.
Like this.
That's right. So you just type that. So this is a plugin for Laravel that takes things a little bit further in terms of integration with Laravel. There is some make commands, to create some particular tasks and things like that. But something you can do here is that you can remove the this from the artisan method. You see the artisan method, for example. You can remove it. Now you can import that function.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. So you can do the same with assert database as well.
Oh, okay.
And now you can import those functions. It gets a little bit more JavaScripty, to be honest, but I kind of like it.
Does it work with mock as well?
Mock, I don't think we have it. That's something from Mockery, by the way, and you probably would need to. I think, I think that is, but not sure if it's imported by default.
Let me actually check. It's provided with Mockery. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay, let's keep it like this.
And something you can do with PHP, which I'm using quite a lot, is that you can go on the top of this file and you can group imports of functions. So here, for example, I can exactly. Oh, that's pretty cool refactoring, by the way. I think it gets a little bit more pretty. Yeah, Pint. So that is a big story here. That is a big story here. So I like grouped imports, and I try to add it to Laravel Pint. But as you know, like we are using PHPCS Fixer underlying the Pint tool. And with PHPCS Fixer, you cannot group only functions. You need to group like also regular imports. So what would happen is that, the regular uses would also be grouped, not only functions. So I've created an issue, and obviously the maintainer told me that at the moment probably I should check that for myself try to do a pull request, and let's see how it goes.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Let's. There are a couple more questions, so I'm going to go through Christian again. How would it be possible to just add a global helper function that returns the parent test case class with a return type, so you'll have autocompletion out of the box?
Yeah, that's kind of advanced, but you can do it. You can simply write your own function, call it, I don't know, Brent or whatever, or test case, for example, and then you would just return the current test case with a type int, and that will give you just regular and good type inting. I don't know if it's something we should do ourselves, because it's just, I don't know. I feel like people who are, there is not a lot of people who ask for autocompletion outside PHP Storm, and people who use PHP Storm does have very good autocompletion. So I think we're happy about that.
Yeah. Okay, another question here. When to use it and when to use test?
Yeah, great question. So, the thing about it, the it, by the way, is the same thing as test. The difference is that it prefix the given description with the it word. That's the only difference. Yeah. So if you would have, if we would have like a description that is only command, I probably would just use test. Yeah. However, if we're talking about, I don't know, a particular user who have a command relation, I could do it has a command. So I would type it, and then the verb has a command. Right. Exactly. So that was I would do to choose between the it or So it's the regular test.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's the only difference.
Thank you. Next question here. It's a bit off topic. Will Nuno ever switch to Vim?
I must be honest. It's like kind of badass to see people like live coding on stage with Vim. Mm-hmm. However, I mean, it's a totally different syntax. I don't think I have. It's not worth the time to learn it. Mm-hmm. When with tools such as Sublime Text and also PHP Storm, would the do everything for us. It's pretty badass. So I don't need to kind of learn Vim.
Yeah. Okay. Here's an interesting one, but let's actually run that. What was it called? Shift? No, not shift. The command that migrates everything to Pest in a minute.
It's called a drift.
Drift. Okay.
Yeah, the drift plugin, like, it really works like in, I don't know, 50% of the cases. But I mean, in some situations you will have here or there something to adjust. We can try just to see how it goes. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't expect everything to work here, but it will be interesting to show. But let me check whether there are any more questions before doing that. Is there a plan to have Pest intelligence in VS Code? Well, I already asked that, of course. So, and the answer was thanks to a Copilot and AI stuff, probably not directly. Okay, let's try drift. Right.
Okay. Just be sure you can roll back so we can then go to the architectural plugin to test that stuff.
Yes, let's actually let's do it. Pest.
I don't know. Let's call that would be perfect. Just comic everything you have now. Perfect. Yeah. Then you can roll back just in case.
Okay, there we go. And that's that.
Now you do vendor bin past -- drift.
Vendor bin past drifts. Okay.
There you go.
Curious.
Go for it. All right. 38 files migrated to past. Now you just open a file. See how it goes.
Yeah, let's actually just check the diff here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's changed.
Yeah, it's very likely that probably I mean, I have migrated tests with this, and all of them, some of them were working fully at the first run.
You want to try
with a project like, hey, go ahead. But with a project like this, I'm already seeing too many stuff that probably will require manually work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know, if it gets most of the boilerplate set up, it will definitely save a lot of time. So
yeah,
but it's
that's very surprising, by the way. Oh my god,
looking pretty great actually. That's those failing tests they failed before. So
yeah, I think you forgot to run Vite. I think you forgot to run Vite, by the way. Can you scroll up a little bit? Scroll up.
Oh yeah, I have to do this.
Yeah. Okay, if you do that now, it should pass. That was very pleasing to see, by the way. So Drift just migrated this entire test suite to past, and everything is just working.
Yeah. Can we get a thumbs up in chat here for me because that's just great, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know this thing existed before this stream. So
dude, you see like that expect username to week old John Doe. So we are also migrating this was a test we were working. You see, like we are also migrating assertion API to the expectation API here.
Yeah, it used to be assert equals, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we also migrate. Do you have any stuff like assert not null or assert not something?
Yeah. You mean like with the not? Yeah.
Yeah. You see, like previously, this used to be expect user not to be null, assert not null. You see? That's very cool, huh?
Hey, this is pretty cool. I'm happy that everything works.
Yeah, so I was expecting, because I mean, if you're using just regular plain PHPUnit, the migration would just work, you know, which apparently is your case. I was just expecting that you would do some, I don't know, some kind of, global thing or something that could probably be potentially, but if you are keeping it simple, it should just work.
Yeah, actually, that was like this project. The goal was to be very like open source community driven. So I did have a lot of benefit from just staying as close to default Laravel as possible. So yeah, pretty cool. We wanted to talk about architectural stuff as well. We've been teasing about it, but we haven't talked about it yet. I should probably like create a new test case.
Yeah, so we can go to the feature folder and create this arc test, for example. This architectural plugin is what have been keeping me busy during the summer, and so we have received some very cool recent additions that I really like. So I think we can start very simple. For example, I guess Brent, you love DD from Laravel, right?
I do.
Okay, so what you don't love,
I really do.
Like,
it sounded like you thought I was joking, but no, I do.
No. I also love it, but the thing is that you probably don't love to see it like in production, for example, because you forgot about the DD. Yeah, so you can type like test globals.
Globals, like this.
Yeah.
Globals.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you don't have to provide the function, by the way, in certain scenarios, because past can. You can just type test globals and then close the parentheses. And then chain with expect. You can type expect. And then probably an array with DD and dump. And then not to be used.
To be used.
Yeah. So if you do this, we will check if you have DDs in your code base.
I don't, but...
So let's add one, yeah. So yeah, there you go.
So and this is pretty great actually, because I don't remember if there are any tools that did this before Pest. Maybe with some static analyzers that you could make custom rules, stuff like that, but this being built in, it's still a very simple example, but you can also like what I remember, well, I don't know the syntax, but you can check whether like your structure, your document structure is correct, right?
We can cover that. We can cover that. Like let's do it right now.
For example,
you can
yeah, like actions, for example, action classes. There's this convention in this project that all action classes should have an invoke method. Can we check for that?
Yeah. We can do that. Let's do it. All right. So just type test actions.
Yeah.
Expect, and then you pass the namespace where all your actions are.
That's app actions, right?
Okay, and you type to be invocable.
To be in.
You probably need to remove the. Yeah.
Double dashes?
Then you will find. No. The second one. I don't think you even need double dashes because you're working with regular
single
quotes. I think. Yeah, go for it. So you will find.
Oh yeah.
So there is some stuff that is not invocable there.
Okay. Let me actually. I want to see this output. I should definitely vendor. I should add an alias for pest, but arch test. So it was tests feature arch test.
Yeah. You can also now use the only if you want, but let's keep it like this. Yeah. So you see, like this plate user profile information is not invocable, so it will point you in the right direction with the snippet. So if you scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, I can click on it, of course.
Yeah,
which is also nice.
So here, by the way, it's telling that profile information is not invocable. So.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is like when I saw this was the feature that I thought, okay, I'll have to switch to Pest at some point because it's so powerful just for quality assurance, you know? Especially when you're working on open source projects like RFC Vote here. There are close to 20 contributors now. This is just great.
Do you want to see something cool? Do you like final classes?
Yeah, I do. Do you?
Okay, so you can. I don't know yet. I use them like sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't, just to piss people off, you know.
Okay. Final read only.
Okay. So you have final everywhere, right?
Exactly. I think it's in my. Oh no, I'm wrong.
In your Pint configuration.json.
Final. .json. Pint.
Yeah.
JSON. I know I don't have a custom.
You don't have it? Okay. So something you can do is just go to your test file and you type test. I don't know, we'll call it good practices or whatever you like to call, just a bunch of rules. Yeah. And you can.
Wait, yeah. Sorry.
This is the way. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And you can type expect the entire app namespace.
App.
Then you need to filter by classes, by the way, because otherwise you will check for enums and shit like that. So you need to type classes.
Yeah.
And then to be final.
Dude.
Yeah. So now we will tell you that
there might be.
Yeah. Some stuff which is not final. There you go.
Fix it.
Yes.
And
keep going.
Email.
You're a liar. You said that all your stuff was final. We are just detecting that you have some stuff that's not final.
Open source, man. Open source.
There you go.
And this is Laravel code.
You see how cool it is now? You're just ensuring that all your classes remain final forever, which is pretty cool.
But like
you can keep going. Like we can do stuff like to be read only, for example. So then,
but I would like my classes to be read only, but honestly, read only is a bit too limited to make everything read only. We need like the property. Well, actually. I just rfc.stitcher.io. I just made I added this RFC property hooks. Wow, there are a lot of people voting against it now. This is the project that we're working on. In case people don't know.
I saw it and I have to say congratulations. It really looks good, great. Finally something that visually looks appealing and people can just very easily vote and comment and discuss. As you probably know, like the internals list is super hard to even send an email to there.
Exactly.
I've sent a couple of emails, and every time I send it, I don't remember the process. It's complicated, and I'm happy that we have this community website where people can express themselves about RFCs and stuff coming to PHP.
Yeah, I really like it. We're only in the beginning phase now, because I just added like the first real RFC to test with. Well, I did some more RFC. Short closures. Look, short closures got like lots of people want them, like multi-line short closures, like. But our internals have voted no for now. But we hope that this project might actually inspire internals to get some more feedback from the community, and maybe kind of steer the vote in some way. But it's not directly affecting, of course. But like I didn't really do most of the work here. If you it's just all our contributors here. It's so many people.
Oh, very nice.
I was very much surprised with how many people started to, not everyone is doing daily commits or anything, but people are really excited about it, and they are helping out. I really appreciate that. And so
I feel like in general it's super important to just open the ownership of stuff, especially in open source. Like so many people sometimes ask me, like, how do you manage to find always people to work with your stuff? Like there is a bunch of people who want to work in open source, but they don't find a reason, they don't find the motive. And if you just say, okay, I'm working on this, who wants to help? And you give ownership. That's a very important part. You give like access to the repo. You give them access to tweet about those stuffs. You give them permission to go to conferences and make them like they own the project. That's like kind of an important thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So cool. Well,
so about the architectural plugin, by the way, before we finish off, there is so many stuff here that we missed, by the way. So if you go to the Pest website, we have a list, 100 architectural plugin documentation. So you go down a little bit, you have architectural testing. There is like all this stuff, which are kind of cool. We have this one. You see this to have suffix, for example, which is on the middle row on the right.
Here.
So you can have like HTTP controllers to have the suffix controller. You can have things such as to be read-only. You can have to extend nothing, for example, if you don't want to use inheritance at all in your project, to only implement a particular class. So there is like all these cool things. Something I think would work very well for this plugin is having people creating guidelines, like literally have a full test suite where people can copy paste and put in their projects.
Right, like a preset of rules that people can use.
I feel like, for example, you probably you are very opinionated about how your code should be. For example, I remember you when you were working with Spassy. I remember you have made this website of rules of like how code should be written, and so basically, you could write a single test with all those rules and then share it with the community. And I think people will really appreciate something like that.
That's super cool. I actually, I might spend some time doing that, because this is, this is just great. I think this is, just one question here. Where did you get the inspiration to make this architecture testing plugin?
So, like on this topic of maintaining multiple open source projects, if you go to this project, call it OpenAI-PHP, so was kind of one of the first implementing this architectural plugin. And when I was building that project, I knew that I don't have time to build this entire thing. I know I can build like the skeleton, and I like to build the skeleton, but then there's like all these new resources from the API that I don't have the time to write them. So I kind of need a way of writing some guidelines. So when people contribute, I don't even spend time even like reading the code, because I know that architecturally it will be good. So I started looking for solutions, and all of them require like configuration file, complicated. And I was like, oh my God, I will spend less time writing this for me than actually learning how to use this stuff on other projects. So there's some examples there.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Great.
So this is like when you use stuff like to only use, or you are basically defining layers on your application, which is so I expect like enums folder to only contain enums. I expect this particular exceptions to only be used or to only use this. Well, I wanted to define layers, so I had this idea of building the architectural testing.
It's so nice, truly.
Yes, sir.
It's, yeah, I'm a little blown away with how smooth everything went.
Thank you.
Not that I was doubting you. I was doubting my code, of course. But yeah, I think I'm going to to push this. Well, I'll open a pull request for the other contributors to share their thoughts as well on this project. But yeah, it's super cool. That's about all I have to say about it. Maybe there are some people in chat who have some questions still. Let me double check if I didn't miss anything.
And meanwhile, let me just say as well, like Brent, thank you for like your community contributions we have done over the years. I think like sometimes people on PHP world kind of don't take enough time to appreciate like how many time of their lives other people have spent like contributing, making PHP better, and you are definitely one of those persons.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I truly do. Yeah, I actually, just on a personal note here, but like these past months have been kind of crazy for me. I got a new kid, the third, and we also had to, we had to move out of our house for a couple of months. I talked about this on stream as well, and I just feel like I missed out on so much stuff. I tried to stay up to date with all PHP RFCs, and I didn't. I wasn't able to do that these past months. So, well, I really appreciate you saying that, and I really hope that I can pick things up a little bit more again. But
yeah, from the outside perspective, it does feel like you are everywhere. So, which is good.
Thank you you very much. Let me check chat here. There was one suggestion to be anonymous to be implemented.
So we either have a pull request open or we are implementing it already. I can't remember. So his question is more about like if you do for example, object equals to new class, and then you just create a class definition right there.
I guess so.
If you can test that option is anonymous, if that object is anonymous or not. So we either have that already or we are implementing it as we speak.
Very nice. There's one more question here. Can you give us any advice for increasing test strategies? I'm not sure if that's a clear question or not. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Increase test strategies. Not really. Hard to say.
I guess my advice, if you're asking about like just how to get started with testing, is things that Pest really lowers the barrier, lowers the friction that you need to go through to get everything set up and to actually write your tests. And I think that's a good thing. It will help quite a lot of people get into testing because it's just easier. There's less boilerplate. It's just more straightforward, and yeah, that's a good thing. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, I don't see any new questions popping up here, so that means we're going to end this stream here just a little less than an hour, as we planned. So perfect.
As we planned, yeah.
Nuno, thanks for being here, and yeah, I hope to see you soon. And